Hey YouTube, Peterbilt Knife Guy. Today I'm going to be talking about my Ontario SP5. I realized that I really only kind of reviewed this in the very beginning of doing YouTube, when I didn't know anything about YouTube and how to review shit, or even talk about it, or anything. But as you can see, this doesn't look like your standard Ontario SP5. This one's been completely disassembled, got rid of the garbage sheath, guard, leather stacked handle, pommel, and then a couple blade modifications, but we're gonna get into that. So this is what it looks like now. I blued the blade with gun blue. I used this stuff right here, the 4440 gun blue, instant gun blue. Worked pretty good. I didn't use Loctite. For the guard, I had a chunk of aluminum, and I took my time drilling the holes smaller than the actual thickness of this, and then filed the fit. File it, keep checking, and then the last little bit, pounded it on. That way, it's literally, it's the steel deformed the aluminum to fit where it needed to be. I haven't done a lot of knife modifications in my life, so you can see these pits and dents and dings. These were already in the piece of aluminum, like this stuff. They're deep. They're from my vise. And I didn't pay attention when I was doing this, and then I was like, oh, I'll sand them out later, and it was just not easy to sand out. For the handle, went down to Hobby Lobby, got the thickest leather they have, cut out a whole bunch of these things, because the way I see it is about, what, I don't know, 5 or 6 of them make an inch. Let's find out. So from here to there, that's more than that. We got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, 8 pieces of leather squished together will make about an inch. This has about a 5-inch handle, so I had to cut a crap load of these out. It was square. I'm gonna see if I can find a video or a picture and post it right now. Well, you either seen it or you didn't, because I either found it or I didn't. But I took 4 of, I kind of wanted a little bit of contrast in there. So what I did is I took 4 of the pieces of leather that I punched out and dyed them black, so it kind of broke it up, spaced it apart with 1. If you can see, I did a decent job of fitting that tang through there, and there's no gaps. I was actually quite proud of how that turned out, minus the fact that I can't really finish this. But you know, this is a user knife to me. These things are very cheap from the beginning, so I don't really care, because I plan on beating it, and I do beat it. Next, for the pommel, so where the tang is, there was already a hole in the tang for the rubber handle to go over. And what I did is I took a block of aluminum. I bought this stuff a long time ago. I bought it to make vice jaws, soft jaws for my vise, but it works perfectly to make pommels. So what I did is I cut a section of this, and then I just drilled out some holes, whole bunch of holes, then went in there with my Dremel, wobbled it out until the tang would just slide through. And then once I got the tang to slide through, then I drilled a hole and got some aluminum pins, which I think I still have one. I do. I got these aluminum pins so it'll match the aluminum pommel, and then drilled the proper size hole, and I stuck this in my vise. And honestly, it was probably this long before I compressed it down. So you know, you start stacking these with I did 30-minute epoxy, because it takes a long time to stack a handle, and I didn't want to rush. So you dip it in epoxy, put it on, dip the next one in epoxy, put it on, and then put a whole shitload of epoxy in here just to fill in any tiny little gaps. And then you just literally just compress the shit out of this thing. And I did. I stuck the blade in my vise and used one of those big old clamps to squeeze it. And I just kept squeezing it until boop, the pin went through. Actually, this ain't even the right pin. This is a different pin, but same concept. And then you just let it dry. I let it cure for 48 hours and then just started hitting it with the belt sander. And man, it turned out good. The guard's a 90-degree angle. It's right where it should be. It sits on the shoulders of the knife. I left a little swell in the belly. Just a little bit. And then a little swell in the handle. Just enough. I mean, you could tell I did it because it's not perfectly symmetrical. I mean, it's close, but it's not perfect. And yeah, it turned out great. And you know, you grind the handle down and grab it and you're like, that's not comfortable. Hot spot. Keep fiddling with it until it's something that you enjoy. The only thing I wish I would have done differently is the guard. I don't know why, but I went flat on top and oval on the bottom, and I should have just ovaled the whole thing. My only regret on this is not ovaling it. This is how poor of a freaking knife builder I am. There's the top of a T right there, because when I was making this, I stamped in a T to orient this, so I knew that one was top, one was bottom, blah blah blah, and that way every time I fit it on, it fits on the same way every time instead of trying to fit it on the wrong way. But I mean, it turned out okay for a 1x30 grinder. I mean, you can still see I did not finish this to any kind of fantasticness. I basically wanted a user, but it worked out all right. It worked out pretty damn good, actually. And the sheath, this was an old leather. This was a piece of horse leather that came off a saddle, and it was long, and it was about yay big, and it had something sewn onto it. And this is before I really got into leather. I actually made the sheath before I did the handle. Used a bunch of pop rivets instead of sewing. I like the sewed look better, but I'll tell you, this sheath is never, it's glued and pop riveted. It ain't ever going anywhere. And yeah, now it's just like it's kind of just like rustic looking. I don't know how to explain it, but anyways, that's my Ontario SP5. Yeah, thanks for watching.